one of my tenants, when the plumbers were sent out to go take care of her emergency issue, they called to let her know that they were on their way to fix the problem, and she told them that if they showed up, her mother would kill them. That was unusual at the very least. To work around that particular situation, I show up with the contractors. We try to do our best to not do it when she's there if we can. But typically, if there's two different groups of people there, she handles things much better and is at least civil. And that allows us to get the work done. That means I'm sitting around for however long it takes, but that's what it takes to get the job done, so that's what I do. Plan ahead, interview as many people in the industry as you can to get a feel for what it really is like, what the rough times are like, what the good times are like. Sometimes those are worse because you get a lot busier. And compare that to what kind of a family life you want to have or a personal life you want to have. If you can't deal with being on call all the time, every day of the week, it probably isn't for you. I do have to schedule it, as I do most everything else in my life, but I also pre-plan it so that I stay somewhere where I'm in contact at all times. I have to be able to be reachable in case of an emergency. So I don't plan going camping in the middle of the mountains. Last year, my family and I went to Disneyland for a week. I was still in coverage, I was still working, I was still handling any issues that came up. I also made sure that all of my properties were rented before I left. Probably the one thing that allows my family to work as well as it does is that I do plan my day. It goes into my calendar. If it's not my calendar, it doesn't really exist. And every time I put something in my calendar, I copy my wife on it, so her calendar looks like my calendar, so she has some idea of what I'm doing and where I'm going, which saves a lot of time at the end of the day of, okay, what's going on tomorrow, and throughout the day. If my calendar changes, I change it in my actual calendar so it updates her. And I schedule most of my life in 15-minute increments. The biggest piece of technology that helps out with that is Google in and of itself, Google Apps, Google Drive. We're a paperless office, so all of our documents are uploaded into Google Drive, so I have access to it anywhere I happen to be. And then of course we use a back-end system that's called Buildium that helps keep track of all of our properties and the notes on the properties. Empathy, communication, getting to know the people. If you have a good one-on-one connection with the person, you're going to get better results out of them, and you really can tell what kind of a person you're dealing with better than those that do things only online, rent properties to people who haven't actually come out and seen it, they've never talked to them. None of that really tells you who the person is. All you're seeing is what's on paper. If you've ever tried to apply for a loan, then you know what on paper is. It doesn't really tell the story of who you are, what situation you've gone through, what's happening in your life, any of that kind of thing. So that, I would say, is probably the oldest trick, is you've got to have empathy, you've got to know the people, you've got to be able to talk with them.